Today we'll be talking about the Dunearn House. The plot of land beside the Dunearn House was sold and awarded to a developer for 15% higher than it is. So basically the same address, same MRT station and the same URA master plan. This is an actual URA tender result. So what does this tell us and what can we infer from there? And what are the market sentiments really like? Today we'll be unpacking a little bit more as we discuss further. So the question isn't really about whether Bukit Timah is a good address, because everybody already knows that. The real question is, did Dunearn House just lock into the cheapest possible point of entry in the transformation that's going to happen over the next 20 to 30 years? Also, Dunearn House is located along the stretch of education belt where there are a lot of popular schools along this area, such as Methodist Girls, Nanyang Girls, Hwa Chong, NJC, HCJC, and even Raffles Girls Primary. I pull out the fact sheet and the market data, and I'm going to show you exactly what I found. Let's get into it. Okay, so what will we be talking about today? I have a quick run through of this couple of agendas, cover a little bit about the project itself, and then I'll share for the first mover story, a little bit about the Turf City transformation itself and what the transformation actually means for Dunearn House. Also, I'll share the market backdrop where we can look into the CCR and RCR price gap itself, and we will explore what's driving it. We will also explore what the neighboring GLS plot of 15% higher bid can tell us. And every buyer should also weigh before falling for the hype, where we discuss some points that the buyer should take note. The last thing is, who is Dunearn House really for? Deeper look at that. So before we enter into the topics, let me show you how Dunearn House looks like. As you can see in this picture, the Dunearn House actually is surrounded by the landed enclaves, which means that surrounding you will be all the low-rise buildings, and depending on which stack and unit that you choose from, probably will be able to get a very nice unblocked greenery view. Dunearn House, jointly developed by Fraser's Property, CSC Land Group, and Sekisui House, all are mega players in this industry. With a total of 380 residential units across 5 blocks, they have a unit mix of 2 to 4 bedder, and it is a 99-year leasehold property, expected for TOP in Q4 2030. Let's take a look at Dunearn House location. Located along the Dunearn Road, it is walkable distance to the 6th Avenue MRT, and next to the coastal MRT is the King Albert Park station. Also, it will be in the proximity of the upcoming Cross Island line for the Turf City MRT station that is set to be ready by 2032. Okay, quick look at the site plan. You have 5 blocks that comprises of 2 bedroom all the way until 4 bedroom premium plus study. So the main entrance is over here with a couple of side gates. I see 4, 1, 2, 2 over here that is along the Dunearn Road that connects you directly to the 6th Avenue MRT. Okay, moving on to the first mover. Everybody has been talking about first mover, first mover. What does this first mover really means for Dunearn House? So Turf City transformation actually spreads over a land size of 176 hectares under the URA Draft Master Plan 2025. The government actually plans to introduce about 15,000 to 20,000 private and public homes spread across the entire estate over the next 20 to 30 years. And there are also 27 heritage structures that will be studied for conservation, including the grandstand. Now you guys might be interested to know that it has been 33 years since the last non-landed private launch in the District 11 Swiss Club subzone. For the location and connectivity, we have briefly mentioned earlier that it is within walking distance to 6th Avenue MRT along the downtown line. And there will be a future Turf City MRT station that is coming up along the Cross Island line, targeted to be ready by 2032. Also, Dunearn House is located along the stretch of education belt where there are a lot of popular schools along this area, such as Methodist Girls, Nanyang Girls, Hwa Chong, NJC, HCJC, and even Raffles Girls Primary. Not to mention, Dunearn House is also positioned along the planned Bukit Timah Rochor Green Corridor near the Bukit Timah Reserve and Botanic Gardens. After looking at the Turf City's transformation, let's expand the scope a little bit wider to focus on the region itself. So over the past few new launches, a lot of emphasis have been placed in the OCR and RCR region. In fact, in 2025 last year, CCR is actually performing the strongest in 4 years. About 1,915 new CCR homes are sold in 2025, an increase of 56% as compared to 2024. And out of these new homes, 82.3% of new CCR buyers are Singaporean. This could be because of the 60% ABSD that's imposed on foreigners that gives Singaporeans a good window and a good opportunity to enter into the CCR region. And as a result, about 3.1% of new CCR buyers are actually foreigners. About 64% of CCR units are sold under 2.5 million. Another reason for the market to be slowly shifting into the CCR is because of the price gap between the CCR and the RCR is getting narrower and narrower. The difference is only about 10% of the median PSF price gap between these two regions back in 2025, which means that CCR address are becoming more and more attainable for the buyers as compared to the RCR alternatives. Now, this is actually a genuine market shift. The plot next to it was concluded just this year, also was quite competitive as it collected about 6 bids and closed at 1,625 PSF PPR. This is about 15% higher of the bid price that was concluded for Dunearn House. So this really suggests about the confidence that the developer has over the area. We take a look at the indicative prices released by the developer. The starting form price goes as low as less than $2,800 PSF. And if we were to take a quick comparison of Dunearn House against some of the developments in the RCR region, we can see that the starting form price is not very far off of the average transacted PSF for the projects in that area. Okay, so we have seen some of the upsides for Dunearn House. Some of the things that you might want to take note of is moving into an active transformation zone. Of course, people say that you are taking the first mover advantage. Nearby constructions and the evolving amenities that is going to happen for the next 10 to 20 or even 30 years. You might want to ask yourself whether you can handle prolonged years of construction in that area. And of course, the master plan timeline may stretch until the next 20 or 30 years, but it really depends on the future government's delivery. And it may not be anything that can be guaranteed today because the URA master plan will review every 5 years. Another thing to take note is within a 500 meters area, our Dunearn House itself is a 99-year leasehold property. So the considerations can be between a so-called permanent tenure versus 99-year leasehold with brand new fittings, full warranty and no renovation backlog. This can be a genuine trade-off. One very small minor detail that we might want to pay attention to is the district itself. Bukit Timah has always given us the impression to associate with District 10, and Dunearn House is actually situated in District 11, and this can be another trade-off as well. Lastly, the Bukit Timah area has always been a slower churn market because for the fact that if I already got a Bukit Timah address, I probably want to stay there longer. So as a result, it will be less ideal to go for a quick resale flip. Who may want to buy Dunearn House? Families with children, if you want to send your kids to the popular schools in that area, this will probably be interesting for you. Parents who might want to enroll their kids into the popular schools along the education belt. Or maybe for those who have been staying along the Bukit Timah area, perhaps even owning an existing older freehold units, might want to consider getting something with brand new fittings and warranty and familiar with the area, might be interested in this Dunearn House project. Also, mid to long-term investors who are genuinely comfortable holding through a longer period of time and perhaps across the multiple milestones of transformation in that area. Of course, for buyers who have been checking out the City Fringe area might find an opportunity in this project because of the narrowing price gap between the CCR and the RCR region. On the other hand, you might not be interested in this project because you're probably looking for a mature estate with full-on amenities available since day one. Or you prefer a freehold tenure as compared to a 99-year leasehold tenure. Or probably you are expecting constant construction works happening in the area for the next couple of years because of the transformation. Or even you are looking for a fast flip property rather than holding the property for a longer period of time. So if we were to come back to run through Dunearn House against the 3 deciding criteria, namely the location, entry price, and the exit plan, we will understand that based on the location, the Dunearn House is the first ever private launch in a 176 hectare of area of transformation that's going to take place in the next couple of years, and it is along the stretch of an education belt with 2 MRT lines, where one is currently existing and one is going to be ready by 2032. Dunearn House could be potentially locking in the cheapest point of entry as a first mover, and for the exit, depending on the transformation milestone, we could be expecting multiple potential exit points. However, probably won't be expecting a short-term exit strategy. So it is best to plan your exit timeline according to the master plan timeline. So what do you think? Do you think Dunearn House is for you? Or if you are thinking about Dunearn House, feel free to reach out to me for a detailed walkthrough to help you gain clarity before you commit to anything. Or DM Dunearn to get the full price matrix and preview invite. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!